Hi there, my name is Robin and welcome to English Grammar Now. Today we're talking about or, so, because, and but. These are conjunctions. First, let's talk about what conjunctions are. They are very helpful and short words that help us to put ideas together. They could help us to put together two nouns. For example, I'll have the chicken and rice, please. They could also help us link two verbs. For example, just stop and listen for a minute. But they could also help us put together two whole sentences. For example, I'll take the children to school and you can come meet me at the park after. Can you see how the first sentence is, I'll take the children to school? The second sentence is, you can come meet me at the park after. And we've used and to put those together. We can use these words, and, but, and or, to join two sentences together. So if we had these two sentences, we love having a dog. The dog chews all the shoes. We could put them together in a couple of different ways. First of all, we could use but, because it's showing that the two ideas are different from each other. The first one is we love having a dog, and the second one is a bit of a problem. So we could say, we love having a dog, comma, but the dog chews all the shoes. If we wanted to not repeat the dog, we could take out the dog in the second part and replace it with a pronoun. It would sound like this. We love having a dog, but he chews all the shoes. Here's another example. Our two sentences could be, we sold the old car, we bought a new one. These two ideas are similar, so we would use and to put them together. Again, we have a couple of ways to do it. We could say, we sold the old car, comma, and we bought a new one, without really changing the sentences. Or we could take out the second we and join the sentences that way. It would sound like this. We sold the old car and bought a new one. Now, if we've taken out the subject from the second part, we don't need a comma before and. Here's another example. I came home early, had a snack, took a shower, and went to sleep. This and is helping us make a list. So in this case, we do need a few commas because we're listing a lot of different things. If we're using but, we're showing that the two ideas are different. So sometimes, if we're using but, you'll notice that one of the verbs is negative. However, this isn't always the case. Here's a couple of examples. He wanted to come on the trip, but he didn't have the time off. The second part of this is negative, didn't. But another example shows us how we maybe not use a negative verb. For example, she put the keys in her pocket, but they fell out. If we use or, there's two different ways that we might use it. One way will show that there's a choice between two things. For example, do you want to go out or stay home tonight? The choice is go out, stay home. However, sometimes we use or to mean and. This is usually the case after a negative verb. This isn't a choice. It's saying that both of the things were not chosen, or were not available, or we didn't do. For example, I won't be studying chemistry or biology this semester. If we used a positive sentence like this, it would say, I will be studying chemistry and biology. But in a negative sentence, we use or instead. Now you try. Looking at these three conjunctions, and, but, and or, see if you can figure out which one belongs in each of these blanks. And don't forget to look for places where a comma might be needed. Go ahead, Give it a try. Here's the conjunctions we could put in each of these sentences. For number 1, I opened the door and looked out. You can see that we're putting together two different verbs, opening the door and looking out. Because there's no subject in the second part of the sentence, we don't need a comma. Number 2, we usually eat at 6, but today we're eating early at 5. You can see that the two parts of this sentence are different. They're showing different ideas, which is why we use but. And because there is we in the first part and we in the second part, we will use a comma between them. Number 3, Mr. Miller doesn't hunt or fish anymore. Because this is a negative verb, he doesn't, we use or. Number 4, you can choose the blue or the green one. This is an example of or being used to show a choice between two things. Number 5, I was so tired, but I came anyway. Here we have another example of two parts of the sentence with different ideas. And I is both in the first part and the second part, so we do need a comma. The last one, we stopped on the way home and picked up pizza. Here you can see that we is only in the first part of the sentence, so we don't need a comma before and. Great job! If we're joining sentences by using so, what we're talking about is the result of something that has happened. The first part of the sentence will be the cause, and the second part will be what happened because of it, the result. Here's some examples. Tanya runs every day, so she's really fit. The first thing that happened was Tanya runs, and because of that, she's really fit. Another example. The essay is due next week, so we should meet to talk about it. Notice that we need commas when we're using so in this way. A very similar idea, but one that is opposite from so, is using because. In many ways, because is reversing the order of these two clauses. Because starts with the action and ends with the reason for that action. Here's some examples. Tanya's really fit because she runs every day. And we should meet to talk because the essay is due next week. Now, when we're using sentences with because, we don't need a comma. Because is a little special. However, if we want, we can take the because she runs every day part and put it at the beginning of the sentence. In this case, we do need a comma after that clause. If we do that to the second example, it will sound like this. Because the essay is due next week, comma, we should meet to talk. So be careful when you're using so and because. They have similar ideas, but reversed. Also be careful when you're using so or because. They cannot be alone as their own sentence. If you have a sentence like, because of the power outage, there is a big part of it missing. We could say, because of the power outage, everyone left early. Now we have two clauses in our sentence, and they're being put together with because. In the same way, we couldn't just say, so we can't eat yet. But we could say, the pizza hasn't come, so we can't eat yet. Now see if you can put these sentences back together using so or because. We have the first half of the sentence, and the second half is in the box. First of all, you'll have to figure out which beginning matches with which ending. Then figure out which conjunction is best to use in that space, so or because. Go ahead, give it a try. Here's how we could put those sentences back together. For number 1, they couldn't play tennis because there was a storm. The first thing is the action, and the reason for it comes after. There was a storm. Number 2, she loves historical tours, so they went to a museum. Number 3, William wasn't hungry because he ate earlier. Number 4, I went to bed early because I wasn't feeling well. And number 5, I am out of eggs, so I'd like to borrow some. Great job! Here's a little conversation using all of the different conjunctions we've studied today. See if you can pick them out. I've got milk, eggs, flour, and butter. Anything else? We need sugar because I'm going to make a cake. I had the recipe, but I can't find it now. How much will I need? I'll get a big bag. Sugar is back in aisle 5, so I can pick it up and meet you at the checkout. Sure, I'll check out and wait for you. Do we need plastic bags or can we carry it all? I have a reusable bag, so we can use that. Here you can see the different conjunctions that are in this conversation. Sometimes we're using ones like and to add things together. We use but to show two different ideas being added together. We use or to offer a choice. And we use so or because to talk about what's resulting from the action or what's the reason for the action. Thanks for studying with me about conjunctions. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye!